Hi, I'm Jessica here at Nautilus Mission Control at the Inner Space Center in Rhode Island. And we're joined today by student Argonauts Colin and Jacob. They're currently in the control van on the Nautilus right now, which is in transit from Malaga, Spain to Trapani, Italy. For the next 20 minutes or so, they'll be answering your questions live. So if you have any questions for Colin or Jacob, feel free to type them in along with your name and the state where you live using the chat box to the right of the screen. Also keep in mind they are about 5,000 miles away, so there'll be a slight delay between my question and their answer. All right, so let's get started. Before I take any questions from the audience, Colin, Jacob, would you mind telling us a little bit about what you've been up to so far on the Nautilus?
Okay, I'll start off. My name's Colin, and what we've been doing out here on the Nautilus is just measuring pH of the water and salinity and things of that nature.
And we've also been plotting our position on a map every 4 hours.
Great, doing a little bit of navigational work.
I mean, we've also
done more.
What else have you done?
We've been getting tours of the ROVs and things of that. I believe it was yesterday, Hillary and I came up to the control van, and Brennan Phillips took control of Hercules' arm, and he was trying to pick up a styrofoam cup filled with water and trying to pour it into a hard hat. So we've just been doing things like that, and it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Glad you guys have been having so much fun. So Jacob, I'm going to direct this question to you. My class wants to know what the weather is like.
Question. Well, the weather is, since we've been on, it's been sunny and a little, how would you say, chilly sometimes during the night, but altogether it's been very nice with very little clouds out in the sky.
And this is another question from our audience, a great question for both of you guys to answer. How did you learn about the Janison project, and what made you want to apply to be an Argonaut?
I was told about it through my freshman year biology teacher, who was very involved in the Janison project and just told me I would have a lot of fun, and she recommended me. And so I sent an application, and a little bit later I got a phone call back saying that I had gotten a call back. So
yeah, and I learned about it through my Boys and Girls Club, my local Boys and Girls Club branch director, Romeo. He told me about it and thought it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to at least try. And as it happened, I got accepted, and we're here now.
And what's the best part about being an Argonaut so far?
The best part about being an Argonaut so far was the boot camp we did in Connecticut, where we went to the Mystic Aquarium and went out on a boat and did a little bit of marine biology. And also, I mean, what tops it all off is just coming out here and doing all these experiments and learning about Hercules and Argus. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And what's your favorite part about life at sea so far?
Well, my favorite part about life on sea so far is being able to see the waves and feel the cool mist come up as it hits the boat, and being able to have a rigorous schedule, which is fun. And it's about my part.
And I've got another web question.
I mean,
oh, sorry.
probably okay. No, go ahead.
What is it like discovering and exploring the sea?
Discovering and exploring the sea. I mean, we've just been doing pH, measuring pH and salinity, and NO3 and NO2. I mean, we haven't had any NO3 or NO2 levels, but pH and salinity has been very interesting because in some parts the pH has basically stayed the same, but the salinity has gone up to down. I mean, from 300 to 180.
Wow. So Jacob, can you answer this question? Can you go swimming when you're on an expedition?
There are times, yes, when you can go swimming. Like they'll have a swimming call, and everyone on board will be able to jump off and swim. Sometimes when the water is not too treacherous.
And Colin, what's the food like? What have you been eating on the Nautilus?
Oh, the food is amazing. The food is cooked by two guys named Jeff and Sergey, and they're both amazing guys. And I mean, we've had everything from steak to chicken wings is what we had tonight. Mashed potatoes, rice, bacon, sausage, all of the above. I mean, it's really nice.
Wow, it sounds like you guys are almost eating better than you would be at home. Another question just came in. What are you going to do with the pH, salinity, and other data you are collecting? Jacob, you want to take this one?
Yes, I will. I believe the data that we have been collecting will be sent back to the Janison program, I believe, if I'm mistaken, and they'll be using it to. I'm really not sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Colin, what is one of the strangest things you've seen on the trip?
Probably the strangest thing I've seen is we just passed by an island. I'm not sure what the name of it was, but there were lights all around at the bottom, and we weren't really sure what it was, too, and that was the strangest thing to me.
What was the strangest thing for you, Jacob?
Really the strangest thing was, I gotta think about that. I saw a lot of strange things on here.
All right,
I
well,
would say at
well, if something comes
go
to you,
ahead.
let me know, for sure. And I've got another question that just came in from the audience. How close have you been to Hercules and Argus, and what have you learned about the ROVs?
We've been right up next to Hercules and Argus. I mean, we were allowed to look at everything from the cameras to the fans that move it around. And what I've learned especially is that it can go, I believe it was 4,000 meters down. And it's amazing that a thing of that size can go down and discover shipwrecks. And they actually, I believe, caught video of a monkfish eating a bunch of, I can't remember what the fish was. But it's very interesting.
Yeah, and I've been pretty close to it. Like we had a pre-dive, and I was with the team inspecting Hercules around before they started, and been pretty up close and learned that those the machine gets pretty hot, and down under it doesn't get really hot either, so they can be under for a long time.
Yeah, they can be out underwater for days at a time. It's really amazing. Another question just came in. Have any of the Argonauts gotten seasick? How have you guys been feeling out at sea?
I've actually gotten seasick. I mean, just before we came up here, I wasn't feeling too well, but I ate some crackers and drank some tea, and that about did it for me. But before that, haven't been the prettiest thing, I should say.
How about
Yeah,
you, Jacob?
Same here. Seasick. It comes sometimes in the morning, maybe. But throughout the day, if I'm doing something, no, not that much.
Well, hopefully you guys start feeling better. Another question came in. Have you seen any dolphins from the ship?
Yes, we have. When we first set off from port, when we first set off, me and my fellow Argonaut Hilary were outside on the deck, and we saw dolphins swimming and jumping.
Very cool. Another question just came in. Colin, why don't you take this one? How did boot camp prepare you for this adventure?
Okay. Boot camp prepared me for this adventure, mostly because we did pretty much the exact same thing. I can't remember exactly what the name of the boat was that we took out in Connecticut from the University of Connecticut, but we did the same thing. We measured pH, salinity, and then we would, I believe Hillary and I went up to the bridge and took the, if we were able to see how far we were able to see out. So we've pretty much been doing the same thing, so it really helped me a lot.
You were able to get your sea legs before actually going out on the Nautilus, and I can see why that'd be very helpful. Another question just came in. Jacob, why don't you try this one? What are some safety preventative measures you've learned to prevent injury on the ship?
Some safety measures we've learned is, you know, not to watch your step going down the ladder. Hang on to the rail while you're going down. Try to get a sure footing before you actually step off and continue walking. And just be on the lookout for anything like.
And Colin, what is life like on the ship, and what's it like out at sea?
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure. What is life like on the ship, and what's it like out at sea?
It's definitely a little different, that's for sure. I mean, the rocking I'm not that big of a fan of, but on the ship, you know, we pretty much the same thing. We just sleep, and you can definitely, the rocking does take an effect. And out on sea, it's pretty much the same thing as in our cabin, but you know, I like it. It's a lot of fun.
And why don't you guys both answer this one? This is a great question. How will you use this experience when you return home?
That's a good question. How I would use it is, you know, put more emphasis at school about the importance of coming out here and doing all of this.
I'm gonna use it because it's really gonna make me focus on what I want to do when I grow up. Because I would really like to come back to the Nautilus and hopefully one day work on it and do the things that the scientists that we talked to today do. That'd be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that, with your studies. Another question just came in. Hello, Jacob and Colin. My class wants to know how many miles you've traveled so far.
Let's see. Let's see. A couple of days ago, I think 2 days ago, we were up to 117 nautical miles, and I'm sure we've. I don't know the exact number, but I'm sure we've doubled that, if not a little bit more.
It's very true.
And how do you guys entertain yourselves on the Nautilus?
Sleep. That's how I entertain myself, is to sleep.
Read sometimes.
And have you met a lot of interesting people?
Yes, definitely. I mean, everyone on the ship is amazing and nice, and they all have different jobs. I mean, just today we got lectured by 4 scientists. One was a geologist, one does sonar and the side scan material, all of that stuff, and everyone is interesting.
And what job on the Nautilus would each of you find the most interesting? Navigator, ROV pilot, scientist?
I would have to say the ROV pilot, mostly because on Hercules with the robotic arms, when Brennan was trying to take the styrofoam cup filled with water and pour it into the hard hat, he has to use an actual robotic arm control, which we have up here in the control van. And I just think that that's extremely interesting and would be a really cool job.
Same here. An ROV pilot, I find it very interesting too. It's like, and the training for it is pretty good.
And Jacob, why don't you answer this one? What's the crew like? Have you been able to spend time with them?
Yes, the crew's very nice. They're very helpful. They help you anytime they get to help us, and I spent some time with some of them, and they're all very nice.
And how many Argonauts are on the ship?
There are 3 Argonauts on the ship right now.
And 1 teacher Argonaut, is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, another question just came in. Colin, why don't you go for this one? Did you get a chance to explore Spain?
Okay. Well, when we landed in Malaga, we went to our hotel and checked in, and we had about probably 3 or 4 hours to explore. So we went down to the Malaga city center, which was pretty amazing. It was very beautiful, very rustic city, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Awesome. Those photos, there's some photos we just showed that were really, really amazing. Looks like you guys got to do a lot of stuff. Another question came in. What are some of the animals you have seen? Do you fish on the ship, and do you eat seafood on the ship?
Okay, I guess I'll take that one. We actually, Jeff, one of the cooks, throws out a line and hopes to catch something. We haven't caught anything yet, but you know, maybe one of these days he'll catch something. So no seafood.
And then we've seen some of the crew with a few fishes of their own that they devour.
They managed to catch. Awesome. Another question just came in. Why don't you guys each answer this one? What is the scariest thing that has happened to you or the crew?
The scariest thing that's happened to me, that's a really good question, by the way, would probably have to be just being thrown around when we hit high waves in my bunk. I mean, I'll be walking down one of the passageways, and I'll just immediately like jump to the side and I'll hit myself or something like that. That's probably the worst thing that's happened to me.
The scariest thing that's happened to me is actually when I was going down one of the ladders out here. I lost my footing and I slipped, and it was funny, but I got scared a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds pretty scary. And what has surprised each of you so far on this trip?
That's a good question too. Probably what surprised me the most is on Hercules with the robotic arms and the control we have up in the control van. If you pick up something that is heavy, you can feel it through the control. And when we did the styrofoam cup test, and there was a 10-pound weight down there, and Brendan tried to pick it up, and it just went up his forearm, and he could really feel a difference.
One of the things that surprised me was on the ROV Hercules, in the wires, they have the tube and they fill it with oil, and so that way when it goes down deep, the pressure is lower than it would have been with air, and that really surprised me.
Great. Well, another question just came in. For somebody who would like to do this for a vocation, what sort of academic preparation should they plan?
Honestly, if you would like to do this, I mean, just be ready. I mean, if you want to do something in the future that involves science or oceanography, to prepare, just bring a good attitude and be ready to work.
Yeah, and math, engineering, science, all of those things are great to study as well. Another question came in. Jacob, why don't you tackle this one? What are your living quarters like? Do you have railings on your bunks?
Our living quarters is a room with 4 bunks, 2 on top of each other on each side. And yes, the bunks do have railings on them, so that way I guess you don't slip out of bed when you hit a big wave. So they're pretty comfy. It's nice.
And I have one final question for you guys. Is traveling around the world fun?
Okay. I love it. It's amazing. I mean, I love doing it on a ship, but if we had more time in Sicily or back in Malaga, that'd be great too. But just being on a boat and not being able to see any land and just seeing maybe a couple ships pass by, it's really amazing.
It's really fun and it's awesome. Just knowing that it feels like you're like not 20 minutes away from home, but then you're halfway across the world, and it's really nice.
Well, I'm glad you guys have had such a great time, and sadly we're out of time now, but thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to our audience for sending in all of those amazing questions. Now, if you want to watch more live exploration from the Nautilus, head over to nautiluslive.org. We have live feeds there 24/7. And if you have more questions that didn't get answered for our Jason Argonauts, feel free to tune in later today at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be answering more questions then. Also, we have some live event with Dr. Bob Ballard coming up this Friday, October 28th. That's at 1:30 and 6:30 Eastern Time, and that's going to be on nautiluslive.org. Again, I'm Jessica here at Nautilus Mission Control. Keep on exploring.